The shuttle touched down on the gray surface of Vorta 7 with a soft thud. Lieutenant Maya Collins pressed her face against the window, staring at the barren landscape outside. The moon was dead, lifeless, just a chunk of rock floating in space. But somewhere beneath the dust and craters lay something that shouldn't exist. "We're here for rocks and old walls," Greg Martin said from the pilot seat. He was grinning, his hands still on the controls. "Another thrilling day in the exploration cause." Maya smiled back at her friend. Greg was an engineer, good with machines and better with jokes. They had been working together for 2 years now, exploring forgotten places across the galaxy. Most of the time they found nothing interesting. Old ruins, broken equipment, space junk. But this time felt different. "The scans showed structures," Maya said. "Big ones. Deep underground." "Yeah, and the Federation says they're human," Greg replied. "Pre-contact era. Before we joined the galactic community. Probably just some failed colony from the early expansion days." Maya wasn't so sure. She was a linguist, someone who studied old languages and ancient texts. She had seen the preliminary data from the automated probes. The symbols on those structures didn't match anything from human history. At least, not from any history she had been taught. The back hatch opened with a hiss. Corporal Jake Hudson stepped into the cockpit, already wearing his armor. He was their security escort, a quiet man who took his job seriously. "Area is clear," Jake said. "No life signs. No energy readings except for what's coming from below." "Then let's go find out what's down there," Maya said. They gathered their equipment and left the shuttle. The gravity on Vorta 7 was light, making each step feel bouncy and strange. Maya activated her suit's helmet, and the heads-up display came to life. Air quality readings, temperature, radiation levels, all normal, or as normal as things got on a dead moon. The entrance to the underground facility was a crack in the surface, widened over thousands of years by meteor impacts and shifting rock. They climbed down carefully, using ropes and climbing gear. The crack led to a tunnel, and the tunnel led deeper. After 30 minutes of descent, they reached a massive door. It was made of some dark metal that didn't reflect their light. Strange symbols covered its surface, arranged in patterns that hurt to look at for too long. "Can you read it?" Greg asked, pointing his scanner at the door. Maya stepped closer. Her heart was beating fast. The symbols were old, incredibly old. She recognized some of them from her studies of ancient Earth languages, Proto-Indo-European roots, Sanskrit derivatives, but mixed together in ways that shouldn't be possible. "It's human," she whispered. "But it's from before." "Way before." "Before what?" Jake asked. "Before everything we know about human history." Greg found a control panel next to the door. It was dark, dead for who knew how many years. He pulled out his tools and began working on it, bypassing burned circuits and replacing power cells. After 20 minutes, the panel flickered to life. The door groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling as ancient mechanisms activated. Slowly, impossibly, the door began to open. Cold air rushed out from the darkness beyond. Maya's suit sensors went crazy, detecting energy signatures that spiked and then disappeared. The three of them stood at the threshold, staring into the black. "I've got a bad feeling about this," Greg said. "You always have a bad feeling," Maya replied, "and I'm usually right." They entered together, their lights cutting through the darkness. The chamber beyond was enormous. The ceiling was so high their lights couldn't reach it. Columns of the same dark metal rose from the floor, covered in more of the strange writing. But it was what stood at the center of the chamber that made them stop. A machine, a war machine, 30 feet tall, humanoid in shape but clearly built for combat. Its armor was scarred and dented, marked by weapons that must have been devastating. One arm ended in what looked like a cannon. The other had fingers, but each one was as thick as Maya's leg. The machine stood in a field of blue energy, frozen in time. Its head was lowered, as if sleeping or waiting. "What is that thing?" Jake asked. His hand had moved to his weapon. Maya walked closer, unable to stop herself. She had never seen anything like it. The machine was human in design, she was certain of it, but humans didn't build things like this. Humans were the newcomers to the galaxy, the younger species. They had barely mastered space travel 300 years ago. This machine looked like it had been built by a civilization that knew war. Real war. She found another control panel at the base of the energy field. This one was still active, glowing with soft blue light. More symbols covered its surface. Maya's fingers traced over them, reading the words that no one had read in thousands of years. "Maya, maybe you shouldn't touch that," Greg warned, but she was already translating in her head. The words were archaic, ancient beyond measure, but she understood them. She had spent years studying dead languages learning how sounds changed over time, how meanings shifted. This was the root of everything, the mother tongue from which all human languages descended. Warden Unit, she read aloud. Awaiting orders. Awaiting Commander. The panel asked for input. A response. Maya's fingers hovered over the controls. Part of her knew this was dangerous. They should report this. Bring in experts. Study it carefully. But another part of her, the part that loved mysteries and ancient secrets, wanted to know. Needed to know. She spoke in the ancient language. The words felt strange in her mouth, harsh and guttural, but they felt right somehow, like something remembered from a dream. I am here. The chamber filled with light. The blue energy field around the machine flickered and died. The war machine's head lifted. Eyes glowed red in the darkness. Focusing on Maya, a voice boomed through the chamber, speaking in the same ancient tongue. The words echoed off the walls, deep and resonant and utterly inhuman. Maya understood every word. The machine was asking for identification, for proof of authority, for the right to give it commands. She didn't know why she did what she did next. Instinct, maybe, or something deeper, something written in her genes. She spoke again in the old language, her voice steady despite her fear. I am Commander. I carry the line. I speak the words of the old blood. The machine moved. After 10,000 years of stillness, it stepped forward out of the energy field. Its footsteps shook the floor. It was massive, terrifying. A weapon from a forgotten age. It looked down at Maya. She was tiny before it, fragile and small. The machine raised one enormous arm. Its hand came up in a salute, precise and formal. When it spoke again, its voice was clear. Acknowledged, Commander. Greg and Jake were backing away, their weapons drawn but useless against something so large. Maya stood frozen, staring up at the war machine that had just accepted her authority. What had she just awakened? And more importantly, what did it mean that it recognized her as its commander? The machine lowered its arm and waited, standing at attention like a soldier ready for orders. Maya's mind raced. This changed everything. Everything they knew about human history, about humanity's place in the galaxy. This machine was proof that humans had been here before, that they had built things, fought wars, commanded power. And somehow, impossibly, she had the authority to control it. Status report, she said in the ancient language. The words coming easier now. The machine's eyes brightened. Warden Unit 73 operational. All systems functional. Awaiting orders. Commander, the enemy is coming. We must prepare, enemy. What enemy? Maya was about to ask when alarms began blaring from their suits. Greg checked his scanner and his face went pale. We've got ships incoming, he said. Federation vessels, a lot of them. Someone had been watching, someone knew they were here. And now everything was about to change. Maya stood in the cargo bay of the Valiant Dawn, watching as engineers and scientists swarmed around Warden Unit 73. The war machine had followed her onto the ship without question, moving with surprising grace for something so large. It stood silent now, waiting. Captain Lisa Monroe paced in front of Maya, her expression tight with worry. She was a career officer, someone who had spent 20 years in the exploration course. She had seen strange things before, but nothing like this. Do you understand what you've done? Lisa asked. The Federation Council is losing their minds. They're demanding answers. They want that machine. They can't have it, Maya said quietly. Maya, be reasonable. This is bigger than you. That thing is a piece of ancient technology. It could change everything we know about human history. It already has. Maya had spent the last 6 hours in the archives with Warden 73, downloading data from its memory core. What she found there made her question everything she had been taught. The machine's memories went back 10,000 years, maybe more. Greg approached them, carrying a data tablet. His face was pale, and his hands shook slightly. You need to see this, he said. He pulled up a holographic display. Images filled the air between the star maps, battle formations, massive fleets of ships that looked nothing like modern Federation vessels, and worlds. So many worlds, all marked with the same symbol Maya had seen in the underground chamber. This is what I pulled from the machine's core, Greg explained. It's a historical record, a war diary. Lisa leaned closer, studying the images. What am I looking at? The Terran Dominion, Maya said. That's what they called themselves. An empire. A human empire that spanned galaxies. That's impossible, Lisa said. Humans only achieved spaceflight 400 years ago. We joined the Federation 300 years ago. Before that, we were confined to one solar system. That's what we were told, Maya replied. But these records tell a different story. Greg expanded one of the images. It showed Earth, but not the Earth they knew. This Earth was surrounded by massive orbital platforms, shipyards that dwarfed anything the Federation had ever built. Hundreds of vessels filled the space around it, each one bristling with weapons. According to the data, the Terran Dominion existed long before our recorded history, Greg continued. They had technology far beyond what we have now, far beyond what the Federation has. They ruled vast territories, maintained order across thousands of systems. Then what happened to them? Lisa asked. Where did they go? Maya touched the holographic display, moving through the data. She found what she was looking for and pulled it up. The images that appeared made her stomach turn. Ships dying, worlds burning, and things, creatures, entities that didn't belong in normal space. They were darkness given form, eating through reality itself. The Void Swarm, Maya said. That's what the Dominion called them. An enemy from outside our dimension. They came through tears in space, consuming everything they touched. The Dominion fought them for centuries. And they lost? Lisa asked. No, Maya said. They won, but the cost was everything. She pulled up another file. This one showed a massive structure, a ring of crystalline metal floating in space. Energy poured from it, warping the very fabric of reality. The Chronos Gate, Maya read from the accompanying text, a weapon of last resort. It could manipulate time itself, rewrite causality on a massive scale. The Dominion used it to seal the rifts, to cut off the Void Swarm's access to our dimension, but using it erased them from history, Greg added. The temporal backlash scattered humanity across time, threw them backwards, wiped out their civilization, their technology, their records. Only a few things survived. Installations like the one we found, war machines like Warden 73, silent guardians left behind to watch for the swarm's return. Lisa sat down heavily. This is insane. You're telling me that humanity used to rule the galaxy, fought an interdimensional war, and then erased ourselves from existence to win? Yes, Maya said. And you believe this? Based on data from a machine that's been asleep for 10,000 years. I believe it because it makes sense, Maya replied. Think about it, Captain. Why are humans so adaptable? Why can we survive on almost any world, in any environment? Why is our genetic diversity so strange? Like we come from multiple separate populations that developed in isolation. Because we were scattered across time and space, Greg said. We're the descendants of the Dominion, but we don't remember. We had to start over from scratch. The ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain Monroe to the bridge. We have incoming vessels. Lisa stood and headed for the door. This conversation isn't over. Come with me. They reached the bridge to find the crew staring at the main view screen. 3 Federation cruisers hung in space outside, their weapons charged. The lead ship was the Horizon's Edge, commanded by Commodore Alan Price. They're hailing us, the communications officer said. Put them through, Lisa ordered. Commodore Price appeared on the screen. He was an older man, gray-haired and stern. His uniform was perfect, his bearing military and rigid. Captain Monroe, he said. I'm here to take custody of the artifact you recovered from Vorta 7. Prepare to transfer it to my ship immediately. The artifact has a name, Maya said, stepping forward. Warden Unit 73. And it's not going anywhere. Price's eyes narrowed. Lieutenant Collins, you've caused quite a stir. The Council is very interested in your discovery. And in you, I'm sure they are. This isn't a request. That machine is a potential threat. It needs to be studied, understood, and secured. It's not a threat, Maya said. It's a guardian, and it's trying to warn us. Warn us about what? Maya glanced at Lisa, then back at the screen. The Void Swarm, the enemy the Dominion fought. Warden says they're coming back, Price laughed. It was a cold, dismissive sound. Lieutenant, I don't know what kind of stories that machine has been telling you, but I'm not interested in ancient legends. I want that technology now. Behind Maya, Warden 73 moved. The bridge crew jumped as the massive war machine stepped forward, its footsteps echoing through the deck. Commander, it said in its deep voice. Threat detected. Multiple signatures consistent with dimensional incursion. Distance, 3 light years, and closing. The bridge went silent. Even Price stopped talking. What did it just say? Lisa asked. Maya turned to the sensor station. Scan for anomalies, anything unusual, tears in space, energy fluctuations, anything. The sensor officer worked quickly, his fingers dancing across his console. After a moment, his face went pale. Captain, I'm picking up something. Multiple somethings. They're not showing up on normal scans. But if I filter 4-dimensional variants, ... double quotes, he trailed off, staring at his screen. What is it? Lisa demanded. Contacts. Dozens of them. They're moving through space wrong, like they're not quite here, and they're heading this way. On the view screen, Price was shouting orders to his own crew. Confirm that. I want full sensor sweeps. Maya felt her blood run cold. Warden 73 had been right. The swarm was returning, and nobody was ready. Commodore, she said. You need to evacuate this system, now. Get every ship out of here. I don't take orders from you, Lieutenant. Then take them from 10,000 years of military data, Maya snapped. The swarm doesn't negotiate. It doesn't retreat. It consumes. If it's coming here, everyone in this system is already dead unless we run. As if to punctuate her words, space itself tore open. A rift appeared on the view screen, a wound in reality that pulsed with sickly light. Something emerged from it, something that made Maya's eyes hurt to look at. It was a ship, but wrong. Its hull seemed to shift and writhe, made of matter that shouldn't exist. Tendrils of darkness reached out from it, and where they touched space, stars went dark. Alarms blared across the bridge. The Federation cruisers opened fire, their weapons lancing out toward the swarm vessel. The shots hit, energy washed over the alien ship, and then, impossibly, the damage healed. The ship regenerated, its hull flowing back together like liquid. Weapons ineffective, someone shouted. More rifts opened. More ships emerged. The swarm had found them, Warden Maya said, her voice steady despite her terror. Can you fight them? Affirmative, Commander. But this unit alone is insufficient. Recommend activating additional Dominion assets. The war machine's eyes glowed brighter. Facility detected. Coordinates transmitted. Distance, 12 kilometers below surface of Vortis 7 ancient shipyard. Multiple vessels in stasis. Maya looked at Lisa. We need to get back down there now. You're insane, Lisa said. But she was already moving toward the helm. Plot a course. Get us back to that moon. On the view screen, the Federation cruisers were falling back, their shields failing under the swarm's assault. Price was still shouting, ordering his ships to retreat. The Void Swarm had returned, and humanity's forgotten legacy was about to awaken once more. The council chamber on Federation Station 7 was built to inspire. Crystalline walls soared overhead, refracting light from 100 different worlds. Representatives from 50 species sat in tiered seats, looking down at the central platform where Maya stood. She wore her uniform, but it felt wrong somehow. Too modern, too clean. The ancient symbols and battle scars of the Dominion ships felt more real than this polished room full of politicians. Ambassador Drex Vor of the Caltharians spoke first. He was a massive creature, 8 feet tall with scales that shimmered like oil on water. His voice boomed across the chamber. You stand accused of theft of Federation resources, unauthorized activation of dangerous technology, and how do you plead? Maya met his eyes. Not guilty. Murmurs rippled through the council. Sol Cathon, the Voxy delegate, leaned forward. The Voxy were ancient, older than any other species in the Federation. Their wisdom was supposed to be unmatched. Lieutenant Collins, Sol Cathon said, her voice like wind through leaves. You activated a fleet of warships without authorization. You engaged in combat operations without clearance. And you claim authority over technology that predates the Federation itself. I claim authority that was given to me, Maya replied, by the people who built that technology, by my ancestors, your ancestors. Drex Vor laughed. Humanity joined the Federation 300 years ago. Before that, you were confined to a single system. You were nothing. We were everything, Maya said quietly. We just forgot. She activated the holographic display she had prepared. Images filled the air above the council floor. Star maps, battle records, the history of the Terran Dominion. 10,000 years ago, humanity ruled territories that made the current Federation look small. We had technology you can't imagine, and we used it to fight a war against something you've never faced. The Void Swarm. Legends, Sol Cathon said. Stories the Voxy tell our children, not legends. History. The swarm is real. You saw it at Vortis 7. Your ships couldn't hurt it. Your weapons were useless. But the Dominion ships destroyed them easily because those ships are weapons of mass destruction, Drex Vor countered. They should be dismantled, studied, controlled. They should be used. Maya shot back. The swarm is returning. The attacks at Vortis 7 were just scouts. The main force is coming. How do you know this? Because Warden Unit 73 has been monitoring dimensional rifts for 10,000 years. Because the Dominion left warning systems across the galaxy. Because I've seen the data. The Council erupted in argument. Species that had been allies for centuries suddenly turned on each other, old tensions surfacing. The smaller, newer species supported Maya, They had seen their ships burn while the Dominion fleet saved them. But the elder species, the Keltharians and Voxi and others who had ruled the Federation for millennia, refused to accept that humanity had once been greater than them. Captain Lisa Monroe sat in the observer section, watching the chaos. Next to her, Commodore Alan Price shifted in his seat. "She's going to get herself killed," Price muttered. "Or she's going to save us all," Lisa replied. The arguments continued for hours. Maya stood at the center of it all, answering questions, defending her actions. She was exhausted, but she couldn't show weakness. Not here. Finally, the council called for a vote. Should Maya Collins be arrested and the Dominion fleet seized, or should she be given authority to continue preparing for the swarm's return? The vote was split. Exactly down the middle. Saul Cathon stood, raising her hand for silence. "There is a third option. We grant Lieutenant Collins a temporary commission as Special Commander of Ancient Defense Assets. She maintains control of the Dominion ships, but operates under Federation oversight. If the swarm threat proves real, she has the authority to act. If not, the ships will be decommissioned." It wasn't perfect, but it was something. The council voted again. This time, the measure passed. Maya left the chamber feeling hollow. She had won, technically, but she knew the elder species would be watching, waiting for her to fail. Greg found her in the corridor outside. "How do you feel?" "Tired," Maya said, "and worried. Solcathon is smart. This temporary commission gives them a way to take everything back. If I make one mistake, then don't make mistakes." Easy to say. They walked through the station together, heading back to the Enduring Resolve. The ship was docked at one of the outer bays, too large to fit in the standard berths. As they approached, Maya saw Warden 73 standing guard at the airlock. The war machine had been damaged in the battle. Scorch marks covered its armor, and one of its optical sensors had been destroyed. But it had refused repairs, insisting it was still combat effective. "Commander," it said as she approached. "Status of council proceedings. We won. Sort of. Clarification required." Maya explained the temporary commission, the oversight requirements, the conditions. Warden listened silently. "This is unacceptable," it said when she finished. "Command authority cannot be conditional. It compromises military effectiveness." "It's the best I could get," Maya replied. "We work with what we have." Inside the ship, she found Jake organizing security teams. The Enduring Resolve had attracted volunteers, humans who wanted to serve on the ancient vessel. Most were former military, but some were civilians who just wanted to be part of something larger than themselves. "We've got 50 crew now," Jake reported. "Not enough to run the whole ship, but better than nothing." "How are they training?" "The ship's AI is helping, teaching them the old systems, the old protocols. It's strange, watching people learn things that have been forgotten for 10,000 years. Maya nodded. She had been doing the same thing, studying the ancient military manuals stored in the ship's database. The Dominion's approach to warfare was brutal and efficient. They didn't hesitate, didn't hold back. When they fought to win, but they had also been ruthless. She had found records of worlds burned, populations sacrificed to slow the swarm's advance. The Dominion had done terrible things in the name of survival. She didn't want to become that, didn't want to repeat those mistakes. Over the following weeks, Maya worked to awaken more Dominion facilities. Each one she activated revealed new pieces of the puzzle. Training academies, research stations, weapons development labs. The Dominion had been preparing for war on a scale the Federation couldn't imagine, and everywhere she went, the war machines recognized her. The command gene was real, written into her DNA by ancestors who had planned for this moment. They had known their descendants might need to fight again someday. But the more she learned about the Dominion, the more she understood the burden of command. These machines would follow her orders without question. They would kill if she told them to, die if she asked them to. That kind of power was terrifying. Captain Lisa became her closest ally. The older woman had seen enough war to understand the weight Maya carried. They would talk late at night on the Enduring Resolve's bridge, watching the stars. "Do you think we can win?" Maya asked one night. "I think we have to try," Lisa replied. "The alternative is extinction. The Dominion won their war, but they destroyed themselves doing it. What if we can't find a better way? Then we'll make hard choices, but we'll make them together." Commodore Price remained a problem. He had been assigned as Federation oversight, which meant he shadowed Maya's every move. He believed the only way to defeat the swarm was to fully embrace the Dominion's methods. No restraint, no mercy, they argued constantly. "You're too soft," Price said during one heated discussion. The Dominion knew what had to be done. They made the hard choices, and it cost them everything. Maya shot back. Their civilization, their history, their future. I won't make the same mistakes. Then you'll lose. And everyone will die because you were too weak to do what was necessary. The swarm attacks continued. Small incursions, testing the defenses. Each time, the Dominion fleet responded. Each time, they won. But the attacks were getting larger. More coordinated. Maya studied the patterns, working with Warden 73 to predict the swarm's strategy. The War Machine's tactical database was invaluable, containing 10,000 years of combat experience they are learning, Warden said one day. Adapting to our weapons, the next major assault will be different. Different how? Unknown. The swarm is intelligent. It remembers its defeat. It will not repeat the same tactics. Then we need to be ready for anything. Maya increased training across the fleet. More volunteers joined every day, humans who wanted to fight for their species. She organized them into units based on the old Dominion structure. Strike teams, tactical squads, ship crews. They were ready as they could be. But deep down, Maya knew it wouldn't be enough. The swarm was coming in force, and when it arrived, all her preparations, all her training, might not matter. She stood on the bridge of the Enduring Resolve, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, in the dark between dimensions, an ancient enemy was gathering its strength, and humanity. The species that had forgotten its power would have to remember how to fight, how to win, how to survive. Maya touched the command console, feeling the ship respond to her presence. We're coming, she whispered to the darkness, and this time, we'll finish it. The Valiant Dawn shook as another explosion rocked the space around them. Maya gripped the railing on the bridge, watching the view screen as Federation ships burned. The swarm vessels moved through space like predators, their impossible forms darting between normal ships and tearing them apart. We're not going to make it to the surface, Greg said from the engineering station. His hands flew across the controls, trying to keep the shields from collapsing. Those things are everywhere. Warden 73 stood at the center of the bridge, unmoving despite the chaos. This unit can provide cover. Deploy me to intercept. You can fight in space, Maya asked. Affirmative. This unit is equipped for void combat. Lisa didn't hesitate. Do it. Cargo bay, prepare for deployment. The war machine turned and left the bridge, its heavy footsteps echoing through the corridor. Maya followed, running to keep up with its long stride. Behind her, she heard Jake calling for his security team to gear up. They reached the cargo bay just as another blast hit the ship. Maya fell, catching herself on a support beam. Warden 73 didn't even stumble. Commander, it said, turning to face her, your safety is priority. Remain aboard ship. No, Maya said, pulling herself up. If there's a facility down there, I need to be the one to activate it. You said, I have the authority. The command gene, correct, but risk to command personnel is unacceptable. We're all at risk, Maya shot back. Everyone in this system is at risk, so let me do my job. The machine regarded her for a long moment. Then it nodded a very human gesture. Acknowledged, I will ensure your survival, Commander. The cargo bay doors opened, revealing the black of space beyond. Emergency fields held the atmosphere in, but Maya could see the battle raging outside. Ships exploded. Energy weapons carved through the dark, and the swarm vessels, those wrong things that hurt to look at, moved through it all like sharks. Warden 73 stepped to the edge. Thrusters built into its armor flared to life. Blue flames that pushed against the vacuum. Engaging enemy, it said. Then it jumped. Maya watched through the bay windows as the war machine flew through space toward the nearest swarm ship. Its arm cannon charged, glowing with power. When it fired, the beam cut through the alien vessel like it was made of paper. The swarm ship died. It didn't explode. It just stopped existing, its matter dissolving into nothing. Did you see that? Greg shouted from behind her. He had followed her down to the bay. One shot, and it's gone. More swarm ships turned toward Warden 73. The war machine moved between them, firing again and again. Each shot was a kill. Each movement was precise, efficient, deadly. That's what the Dominion was, Maya said quietly. That's what we used to be. Shuttles ready, Jake called. He was standing next to a small transport craft, his team already boarding. Let's move while that thing has them distracted. Maya ran for the shuttle. Greg was right behind her, carrying equipment and data pads. They strapped in as Jake took the pilot's seat and launched them out of the bay. The shuttle dove toward Vorta 7, weaving between debris and weapons fire. Through the windows, Maya could see Warden 73 still fighting, holding off dozens of swarm ships alone. It was buying them time. They hit the moon's surface hard, the shuttle's landing gear scraping across rock. The coordinates Warden had provided led them to a crater on the far side of the moon, hidden from the orbital battle. There, Maya said, pointing to a dark opening in the crater wall. That's it. They left the shuttle and descended into the facility. This one was larger than the first chamber they had found. Much larger. The entrance tunnel stretched down for miles, carved through solid rock. Their lights revealed walls covered in the same ancient writing. Maya read some of it as they walked. Dedication plaques, ship names, service records. This wasn't just a storage facility. It was a memorial. How many people died in their war? Greg asked, his voice echoing in the tunnel. Billions, Maya said. Maybe more. The data from Warden's memory core showed casualties across hundreds of worlds, and we don't remember any of it. That was the point. The Chronos Gate didn't just seal the swarm away. It gave humanity a second chance. A fresh start. They reached the end of the tunnel. Another massive door blocked their path. This one had a control panel that was still active, still waiting after all these years. Maya approached it carefully. The symbols on the panel glowed softly, inviting her to speak the words written there. It's asking for clearance, she said. Can you open it? Jake asked. Maya took a breath and spoke in the ancient language. The words came easier now, like muscle memory awakening. She gave her rank, her authority, her bloodline. The door opened. What lay beyond took her breath away. A hangar, vast and dark, stretching away into shadows that their lights couldn't penetrate. And ships, dozens of them, sleek vessels of dark metal, each one easily twice the size of the Valiant Dawn. They hung in stasis fields, suspended above the hangar floor like sleeping giants. Oh my God, Greg whispered. Maya walked forward, her boots echoing on the metal floor. She approached the nearest ship, reading the name etched into its hull. Enduring Resolve, she said aloud. As if responding to her voice, the ship's running lights flickered on. One by one, systems began to activate. The stasis field died, and the ship settled onto its landing struts with a soft hiss. A ramp extended from its side. An invitation, Maya, Jake said warningly. Maybe we should think about this. But Maya was already walking up the ramp. She had to see, had to know. The interior of the ship was dark but clean, preserved perfectly by the stasis field. She found herself in a corridor lined with doors, command stations, crew quarters, everything a warship would need. She followed the corridor to the bridge. It was smaller than she expected, more intimate. A captain's chair sat at the center, surrounded by control stations, and at the front a viewport showing the dark of the hangar beyond. Maya approached the captain's chair. There was a panel on its arm, similar to the one she had seen at the doors. More ancient writing, more requests for authorization. She sat down. The moment she did, the ship came fully alive. Lights blazed on across the bridge. Displays activated, showing readouts in the old language, and a voice spoke, feminine and calm. Captain recognized. Welcome aboard, Commander. Enduring Resolve standing by for orders. The ship's AI still functional, still loyal after 10,000 years. Status report, Maya said. All systems operational. Weapons charged. Crew complement 0. Awaiting personnel. Can you fly with just me? Affirmative. This vessel can be operated by command staff alone if necessary, though combat effectiveness is reduced. Maya looked out the view. Through the hangar entrance she could see flashes of light from the battle above. Warden 73 was still fighting, but it wouldn't last forever. How many ships are in this hangar? She asked. 42 vessels total, all awaiting activation. Can you activate them? Negative. Each vessel requires command authorization from approved personnel. Maya felt frustration building. She didn't have time for this. People were dying up there. Then she had an idea. If I give authorization, can you relay it to the other ships? There was a pause. Affirmative. Fleet network protocols remain active. Authorization can be distributed across all vessels simultaneously. Do it. I authorize activation of all ships in this facility. Emergency combat protocols. Defend this system against swarm incursion. The ship's AI hummed. Authorization accepted. Transmitting to fleet. Through the viewport, Maya watched as the other ships came to life. Their lights turned on one by one, filling the dark hangar with cold blue light. The ancient warships of the Terran Dominion, sleeping no more. Fleet activation complete, the AI reported. All vessels report ready for combat, awaiting tactical orders. Greg's voice crackled over her communicator. Maya, what did you just do? The whole facility is lighting up like a sun. I activated the fleet, she said. Get back to the shuttle. We're leaving. What about you? I'm flying this ship. You don't know how to fly a 10,000-year-old warship. The AI can handle it. I just need to give orders. She stood and moved to the helm control station. The interface was strange, but intuitive. She could feel the ship around her, responsive and eager. Enduring resolve. Plot course to orbital combat zone. All ships follow my lead. Acknowledged, Commander. The ship lifted off the hangar floor, its engines humming with barely contained power. The other vessels followed, forming up in perfect formation behind her. 42 ships, an ancient fleet, ready for war. They burst from the hangar entrance and climbed toward space. Maya's stomach dropped as they accelerated, faster than any ship she had ever been on. The crater walls became a blur, then they were thrown out into the black. The battle hung before them. Federation ships scattered and burning, swarm vessels hunting through the debris, and Warden 73 still fighting, its armor scorched and damaged but unbroken. All ships, Maya said, engage the enemy, protect Federation vessels, fire at will. The Dominion fleet swept into the battle like an ancient storm. Their weapons lit up the dark beams of pure energy that cut through swarm ships without slowing. The alien vessels tried to regenerate, but the Dominion weapons burned too hot, too deep. Maya watched from her command chair as the fleet fought. They moved in perfect coordination, each ship supporting the other. The alarms started at 0300 station time. Maya jolted awake in her quarters, her hand reaching for the communicator before she was fully conscious. Commander Collins, report to the bridge immediately. The enduring resolves, AI said. Multiple dimensional rifts detected. The swarm is here. Maya ran through the corridors, pulling on her uniform as she moved. Other crew members were doing the same, rushing to their stations. The training they had done over the past months took over, turning chaos into organized response. The bridge was already active when she arrived. Displays showed the horror unfolding across the galaxy. Dozens of star systems, hundreds of rifts. The swarm wasn't probing anymore. This was the full invasion. Report, Maya ordered, taking her seat. Swarm forces emerging in 43 systems simultaneously, the tactical officer said. Federation fleets engaging, but they're overwhelmed. Casualties already in the thousands. Greg's voice came over the com from engineering. All Dominion ships are ready. We're just waiting for your orders. Maya looked at the tactical display. The swarm was hitting everywhere at once, stretching Federation defenses to the breaking point. She could send the Dominion fleet to help, but it wouldn't be enough. Not against numbers like this. They needed to end this. Not just win this battle, but finish the war. Warden, she said. Where is the Chronos Gate? The war machine stood at its usual position near the command chair. Information classified. Higher security clearance required. I'm giving myself clearance. Where is it? Stored in Earth's moon. Location coordinates sealed in this unit's core memory. Accessing requires command gene verification and proper authorization protocols. Then verify me. Full authorization. I need those coordinates. Warden's optical sensors focused on her. Commander, the Chronos Gate is a weapon of last resort. Its use carries catastrophic risks. The Dominion chose erasure over deployment during the final battle. I'm not planning to erase anyone, Maya said, but I need to know where it is. If we're going to end this war, we need every option available. The machine was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke. Authorization protocols initiated. Genetic scan required. Please approach. Maya stood and walked to Warden 73. The machine extended one massive hand, palm up. She placed her hand in it, feeling cold metal against her skin. Light pulsed through the machine's systems, scanning her DNA, reading the ancient markers written there by people who had lived 10,000 years ago. Verification complete, Warden said. Command gene confirmed. Clearance granted. Chronos Gate location, Lunar Sol System. Coordinates transmitted. The bridge displays updated, showing Earth's moon, a facility buried deep beneath the surface. The gate was there, waiting. How long to reach Earth from here? Maya asked. At maximum speed, 3 days, the navigation officer replied. Then plot a course. Send orders to all Dominion ships. We're going home. Captain Lisa Monroe's face appeared on the communication screen. She was aboard the Valiant Dawn, coordinating with Federation forces. Maya, what are you doing? She asked. The swarm is attacking everywhere. We need the Dominion fleet here. We need to end this, Maya replied. The Chronos Gate can seal the rifts permanently. Cut the swarm off from our dimension forever. The data you showed me said using that thing nearly destroyed reality last time. I'm not using it the same way. The Dominion tried to rewrite causality. I'm just going to close doors that should never have been opened. And you're sure this will work? No, Maya admitted. But it's the only plan I have. Lisa nodded slowly. Then do it. I'll hold the line here as long as I can. The enduring resolve turned toward Earth, the rest of the Dominion fleet following in formation. Behind them, the battle raged on. Federation ships died, worlds burned, but Maya couldn't think about that now. She had to focus on the mission. 3 days of travel felt like 3 years. Reports came in constantly, systems falling, populations evacuated. The swarm was unstoppable, consuming everything in its path. Commodore Price sent message after message, demanding Maya return with the fleet. When she refused, he declared her actions treason and ordered Federation ships to intercept. But no Federation ship could catch a Dominion vessel at full speed. Earth appeared ahead of them, blue and beautiful. Maya had been born on a colony world. She had never actually seen humanity's homeworld before. It took her breath away. Swarm contacts in system, Tactical reported. Multiple rifts opening near Mars orbit. Of course they're here, Maya muttered. They know what we're planning. The swarm had sent their heaviest forces to Earth. Dozens of the massive vessels emerged from the rifts, each one bristling with weapons and accompanied by smaller attack craft. All ships engage enemy forces, Maya ordered. Buy us time to reach the moon. The Dominion fleet swept forward to meet the swarm. Energy weapons lit up the dark. Ships died on both sides. Maya watched the tactical display, seeing her people fight and fall. Jake Hudson led a boarding team onto one of the swarm vessels. They fought through nightmare corridors, destroying the ship from within. Jake's last transmission was garbled, filled with static and screaming. Swarm vessel destroyed, Tactical reported. No survivors from the boarding team. Maya closed her eyes. Jake had been with her from the beginning. A good man, a good soldier. She couldn't afford to grieve. Not yet. The enduring resolve reached the moon. Warden 73 guided them to the hidden entrance, a crater that looked natural but wasn't. They descended into tunnels carved from solid rock. The Chronos Gate chamber was vast. The gate itself filled the space, a ring of crystalline metal a kilometer across. Power conduits covered the walls, all leading to the gate. It was beautiful and terrible, Commander, Warden said. Activation requires direct interface with the gate's control systems. Historical records show this process has a 0% survival rate for the interfacing individual. What about for war machines? Maya asked. The machine's optical sensors brightened. This unit is designed for such interfaces. Survival is not guaranteed, but probability is higher. Then you'll do it. Negative. My primary function is protection of command personnel. I cannot allow you to remain at risk while I interface. That's an order. Warden orders that endanger the commander's survival can be refused under emergency protocols. Maya stepped closer to the war machine. I'm not letting you die for me, and I am not allowing humanity to lose its commander, Warden replied. You carry the command gene. You can awaken other Dominion assets. This unit can be replaced. You cannot. Greg's voice crackled over the com. Maya, we've got problems. Swarm forces are breaching the tunnel entrance. The other ships are holding them back, but they won't last long. Maya looked up at Warden 73, the machine that had served the Dominion for 10,000 years, that had waited in darkness for someone to give it purpose again. If you do this, she said quietly, it's been an honor serving with you. The honor has been mine. Commander. Warden moved toward the gate's control interface. I was built to protect humanity, to serve those who carry the old blood. You have reminded this unit what that service means. Will it hurt? Unknown. This unit does not fear pain, only failure. The battle outside was getting worse. Maya could hear explosions echoing through the tunnels. Her people were dying to buy her this chance. Do it, she said. Activate the gate. Warden 73 connected to the interface. Power surged through the chamber. Blinding and terrible. The gate began to spin, faster and faster. Reality bent around it. The war machine's voice changed, became strained. Gate activation at 30%. Dimensional locks engaging. I am detecting all active rifts across the galaxy. Preparing to seal. How long? Maya asked. 2 minutes to full activation. 1 minute after that to seal all rifts. You can do this. Just hold on, Commander. This unit wishes to express gratitude for awakening me, for giving me purpose again, for showing me that humanity still remembers honor. Maya felt tears on her face. Thank you, Warden, for everything. The gate hit full activation. Energy poured from it, washing over the chamber. Maya's instruments went crazy, showing dimensional distortions spreading across the galaxy. The rifts began to close, one by one, all across known space. The swarm vessels trapped in normal space started to dissolve, their connection to their home dimension severed. 70% sealed, Warden reported. Its voice was fading. 80%, 90%, almost there, Maya said. Just a little more. Commander, when this is done, tell humanity what they were, what they can be again. Do not let them forget a second time. I won't, I promise. 95%, 98%, 100%. All rifts sealed. Mission complete. The gate's spin began to slow. The energy discharge faded. Maya ran forward to where Warden 73 stood connected to the interface. The war machine was dying. Its systems were shutting down one by one. The optical sensors that had glowed red for 10,000 years flickered and went dark. Warden, Maya said softly. Commander, the machine's voice was barely a whisper. It has been my honor to serve. Then it was gone. The ancient war machine that had fought impossible wars and waited in darkness for millennia finally fell silent. Maya stood in the chamber, crying. Around her the sounds of battle faded. The swarm was defeated. Humanity was saved. But the cost felt too high. Greg found her there an hour later.